Happy Monday, buddy.
Oh, dude, I am in the wide world of Walt Disney World.
Yeah, I bet that's something down there, as always.
It is. The weather's been pretty good. Had a little bit of rain, which is fine. But we're having a good time. But definitely wanted to make sure that we kept our streak alive. It's something that I'm very happy and proud of, which I know you are as well. But I got permission to take a little time away from Mickey and the gang and to knock out a Disney World Powercast. Definitely, when we started this journey, never would have thought that this would be my second podcast coming from Walt Disney World. Since I had actually, this is the third time I've gone since Allie and I got married. It's becoming like a yearly thing, even though she was like, yeah, every other year seems like a good thing. And it's 3 years in a row. And that just kind of tells you who wears the pants in our relationship. Mm-hmm. But it's fun. It's fun down here. It's fun to watch Hayden, and he loves it. So, but happy to do it, and we appreciate you taking the time to listen to us on this Monday morning of the Crushing Iron Triathlon podcast, episode 235.
235 it is. Now, hey, I got a quick question for you, buddy.
Okay,
maybe you can help me make a decision about my home life.
Oh, whoa!
Now, I've got for Christmas.
Taking in a roomie?
No, it's not that. Well, it's sort of, maybe that is exactly what's going on here. That's what my dilemma is. Now, for Christmas, I've got, it's not the, I don't know, it is Alexa, the Echo Dot.
Oh, that's creepy, man.
Yeah, I'm sitting, it's still in the wrapper. I've had it. I've been looking at it. It's been sitting out for about, since Christmas. And I keep thinking to myself, I don't know. I mean, that's like basically giving
listen, man. Let me just
spies
stop you
into your life, right? Not that anybody has anything to spy on me for, but it's like everybody bitches about like privacy, and we're just buying items to give them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like they didn't even have to do anything. They just they said to put stuff on sale, and now they've got.
Just sit back and let the Americans be stupid. Let me, as your friend, I think you should give it a whirl. I'm your friend. You know, I consider you're one of definitely my best friend, and it's been a while since you've had a committed relationship with a woman. I think this would be a good. I think this would be a good step.
Alexa, huh?
Yeah, she's going to talk back. She's going to kind of be a clinger. She's always going to be around. She can talk to Maddie while you're gone, probably.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm sure they can do all kinds of things. But I think it'd be a good step in the right direction for you. And hey, if you don't like her, just return her.
Oh, man. Thanks for the advice.
Yeah, I know you're not going to take it, but that was just, just give it a shot, man. I think it's,
I don't think I need it.
Could lead to other things.
Yeah.
You don't. Why the hell did you buy it? You're like the last person I would think.
I got it for Christmas.
Oh, who did your mom get that to you?
My sister.
Oh my God, she's always trying to get you like to the one in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That's not surprising.
What does that mean?
I'm just kidding. Trying to. What do you need Alexa for? Alexa, make me coffee.
No.
Mike, 10:30. It's like, what do you need Alexa for?
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the commands you can do. Dim my lights. Wake me at 6 a.m. Yeah, right.
Listen, 90% of this country has Alexa and on Alexa Pro. So we don't need to go down that route. I retract my previous statement. Return it. Especially if you can get cash for it.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much it's worth, but it's sort of like the temperament. We don't go into politics or like social issues, but it's like the temperament of the world, man. It's like if I record my conversations now, who knows 20 years from now what they might want to hold against me.
God, I know. I'll be screwed.
It's like our podcast may be, socially insensitive.
Yeah, well, if you're listening and you think we're socially insensitive, turn us off. We don't really care.
Oh,
I mean, it's the truth. I mean, Anyway,
What do you want to talk about today, man?
So
I've been kind of down.
You haven't been down. How can you? Well,
I'm not down.
I was deciding on unwrapping my next relationship. I kind of had this epiphany the other day about, we talk about this. It's very, 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 very common for an athlete to do an Ironman and then have post-Ironman blues. And it's also really, really common for an athlete to do an Ironman and kind of be stuck, or if you're listening and this is your first time listening, like, we don't always talk about Ironman. I know that we say that a lot, but it's just mostly because you and we do long distance a lot. But I'm talking any big race. So when I say 70.3, if I say Ironman, just insert your biggest race, sprint, Olympic, whatever it is, marathon, ultra event, anything. They have this there's always this post whatever race depression, or a lot of athletes, and I know plenty of them, I have some that are stuck in like the no man's land of post Ironman. They're not sure if they want to do one again, and they struggle with this feeling of, but isn't it just common to like not be motivated if I don't have a race? Actually, it's not. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Like I have the other end of the spectrum. I have athletes who would train every single day and never miss, and could care less about racing. They just love that it's that part of their life. But I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was talking so much about addiction and depression, and so much about how our society is so disconnected from each other. And again, we're not going to get into political, social issues, because I could go on a total rant about stuff like that right now. But there is our drive and our addiction, which to media and social media outlets, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, all those kind of mediums we can jump from one place to another and have our set. So when you go and work out, and then this is the point I'm trying to get to, is you do an Ironman, you get, and we talked about this on just another podcast ago, you get most of your fanfare on the parade to the day. You get likes and pumps up, and you're the greatest, and you're this and this and that. And I think what happens to people is we tend to, and I've been there. I'm not speaking about this from you should stay away because I've never done this. I'm coming from like, this used to be me way back in the day, was I can do a workout and I can post it and get hashtag Ironman Louisville and look at me crushing it, and you do some work, like you do some part of a workout preparing for this event, but then you get this, I don't want to say it's positive reinforcement, but because we know there's addictive attributes to your cell phone, and that's how people create it, to be more addicting. And there's serotonin levels it's just, you get this rush of likes and things that I think overstimulate you into a feeling of, I think some people get like a euphoric feeling from it. Like, look at this long ride I did, I got 900 likes. Like, to most people, that gave them a better feeling than the actual ride itself. Mm-hmm. And when you get post Ironman or post race, you've gone down to what I would consider like it's a form of withdrawal. I think you don't have that anymore. You don't have that. Wait, but I can't go back and check about what everybody loved that I just did. I think it's an attachment that we have to constantly expressing and announcing what we're doing, and then expecting a reciprocated excitement and congratulatory return, versus athletes who do this all the time and never have that down, because they do it because they love it, and they could care less if you like it or not. But there's this huge, and there should be for a lot of people, there's this huge fanfare when you do your first Ironman. And there should be. Or your first 70.3, your first whatever it is, your first triathlon in general. There should be, because for the most part, it's a life-changing event for people, and that should be celebrated, because so many people who take on the sport, myself and yourself included, did it to get out of a vicious, non-healthy, crappy cycle we were in. So that journey itself should be celebrated, and I'm not saying you should poo-poo your first Ironman. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that the little parts that we tend to get addicted to and gravitate towards and get more energy from on the way there, we don't realize in that moment that they're going to be gone afterwards. You're not going to have the hoopla around your first one again. You're not gonna, it's all going to get stale. And so I think there's just two, and with as many athletes I've worked with over the last 10 years, you have those both ends of the spectrum. There's very few in between. They're either they go about their business, they do their work, and they love it, and they get back up, and they can't wait to get back at it. And then you have the ones to where it's kind of like the person sitting alone on New Year's at like 2:00 in the morning when the chandeliers tilted and everybody's passed out or gone or left, and they're sitting there alone, and there's still streamers coming down. They're like, "What the hell do I have left?"
Yeah,
and it's
what a feeling.
It is. It's like such a weird, like, this was the greatest. I can't wait. Oh my God, I'm alone. And what am I going to do with myself? It is like one of the biggest, like, hardest things as a coach to watch, because you can't do anything. And yeah, I think it's naive for athletes to think that coaches can coach you out of that. I think they can help steer you maybe in the right direction. They can help guide you towards finding your way, but they're not gonna fix it for you. And it's at least for me. And if there are coaches out there that have this like special voodoo that they can pull it out, good for you. But for me, it's the most difficult thing to watch, because you can't motivate someone who has nothing to get motivated about, or is in that kind of a funk. And I think, looking back on it now, I think there are just a lot of ways to be able to hopefully kind of safeguard yourself from that en route to making it a more of a continuous, trending up kind of a journey, instead of the way up and the epic crash down. Because, like, I always kind of, it's not the same by any stretch of the imagination, but when they always talk about people who are in recovery, they always say, like, every time you relapse, it's going to be 1,000,000 times worse. Mm-hmm. It's like it's not like that was just a tiny one, and then that was just a little minor one. It's like it's gonna be 1,000,000 times worse than it was before.
Yep.
And so, like, they talk about safeguarding anyway, but it's like that with Ironman, because it's this, in a different level, obviously, because there's this level of investment. And I promise I'll stop trying to say Ironman, but it's the most common one, because it's a year-long investment where I think our return, maybe that's the answer, is it's a year-long investment, and we don't think about where we really need the return on the flip side. Like, we're investing money and expecting a return and a cash out on that day, and then we get done with it and we have no idea where to reinvest it again. Mm-hmm. Instead of just investing and then maybe taking a slight withdrawal out on race day and continuing on our way. Most people totally, they invest a year out, and baby, when it is race day, I am cashing out, and I might take a credit card out, and I might take a loan, and I might head over to Title Max. I'm all in. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
It's like it's the hardest balance, but I think that so much of the aftermath can be safeguarded, and I think people listen to this probably thinking, like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Telling you, if you've never had it or you don't know, it's not like it's like some disease or something, but everybody I think knows somebody who was done Ironman and then doesn't do a damn thing for 4 months.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is I think I used the analogy a few podcasts ago about when you went into your rehab, and it was probably very difficult to get there. And then as the month or two kind of rolled on, it became something you became excited about, a change, like something that you were really striving towards. And then the minute they opened the door and said, all right, go out into the real world, then I feel like the real work starts right then. And to me, after an Ironman, you train for your first one, and you do all this hard work, and you get so pumped and motivated, and you're like, you have a target, you have a purpose, and you have a focus. And then all of a sudden the race is over, and like you said, people don't do something for the next 3 or 4 months or 2 months or even a month. All of a sudden, to me, that's almost like akin to a relapse in a way. And then all of a sudden the guilt starts coming in, and it's like, wait a minute here. I had this whole thing worked out, and now it feels like the hard work is just starting, you know? It's kind of like, it's that first couple weeks of your job, it kind of goes smooth as heck, and you're excited about it, and then all of a sudden you show up one day and the boss just jumps on your ass. It's like, oh, this kind of sucks. I got to really start working here. And
it's also, what are you creating this? What and who are you creating this for?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to be the only one left with it. Some of your friends probably aren't going to race the same race next year. Like, I think I think that's why, like, I don't think it's just a coincidence that there was a direct symbiotic relationship with how Facebook took off and how Ironman took such a drastic decline. I don't think it's a coincidence at all. I think it went mainstream, and the bucket listers came in by leaps and bounds to do it, and did it to do it once and not to make it a lifestyle. So I think that actually hurt the sport. And then now, as we're kind of trending back towards treading water and eventually, I think, growing again, it's hell yeah, I'll spend $800 to sign up for a year-long parade where I'm going to get celebrated for 350 days before I even get to the day that matters. Like, because you get like an endorphin rush for just waking up and doing the work that you're supposed to do, for spending $800 and $2,000 in hotel rooms and a new bike and a new this and a coach and all this. And you're like, but you get like applauded for it the whole way. And I'm all for support. I'm all for accountability. I'm all for, staying motivated. But if you're doing specific things to keep you quote unquote motivated, or to quote unquote stay motivated, and they're based on other people pushing you up or propelling you or liking you or giving you a thumbs up or a heart or whatever, or you're crushing it, or when you're 6 months out and you're not doing much, then guess what? Yeah. When those things go away, it's that battle of external and internal motivation. It's all going to go away. It's going to vanish overnight. All of it. It's going to be gone. And that, I think, is probably one of the other root causes for why people go into such, like, literally a depressed state. And they just don't work out, and they're in a huge funk, and they can't find any kind of a rhythm to get back into it. And again, the funny thing is, man, is that how the North American calendar now is really kind of shifted toward, it's a huge back end. Wisconsin, Chattanooga, Florida, Arizona, Louisville. I mean, there's just a ton at the back end. And you combine that with a loss of motivation, with an increased, more than likely, an increased ability and environment that's lends itself more towards isolation. And no wonder. Like, and the podcast I was listening to was about how connecting with actual people is so great for your soul to be able to, like, take you out of certain funks. So you get these huge highs in these late season Ironmen, and you got group rides and group runs and hanging out with your homies and meeting up for this and being outside, and then all my motivation, all my inspiration has been invested in this and all of these kudos and thumbs up and Strava love, and and oh my God, it's all gone, and oh my God, I'm inside and it's dark all the time. It's like the perfect storm
The timing.
of it's the timing. It's like the perfect storm to be of isolation and minimal sunlight and so many different things that combine itself. And so, yeah, I think that timing isn't helpful. It is definitely not. But it's that it's also, again, it's that the way that we see, the way that we consider Facebook as connecting and going out for a run as people disconnecting, when it's the opposite. It's where you put the amount of value in what you're trying to accomplish along the way, and what you're going to remember when it's done. Are you know, when you cross the finish line, are you going to remember on June 12th all the likes you got after that epic 5-hour ride and 25-mile run? You know, or you know, is it the memories, or is it the drive, and what? So I think the biggest question, if you're right now, mid-January, late January, a lot of you probably signed up for a big 70.3, a big Ironman, any big race. One of the main questions you have to start asking yourself is, what's going to get me out of bed the next morning? What's going to make me, and don't be naive about it, and don't be, but I'm just going to keep grinding, baby. Got to keep grinding. That's not going to work. First of all, grinding's not fun. It's what am I committed to? Not until race day. Like, again, I think we've talked about this before, maybe it's a few months ago, but is to stop looking at race day as an end date on the calendar, or as an expiration date, I think we said.
Mm-hmm.
And when people look at it and invest in this expiration or this race date, it's not just that the race itself expires, it's so does your motivation, your inspiration. You've put everything into one basket. But you can always tell, again, on the front end, when the larger, and I'll say this, I'll be honest, the larger the pre-parade, the harder the fall. Every single time. The larger the pre-Ironman parade, the harder the fall on the back end. I think it's common. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it, because it's your own life. You know, I'm not going to judge you for it. But it's, again, it's the why behind why you're doing it. And are you willing, and what are you, so if you look at it, you know, again, like we always talk about from a coaching aspect, we look at training weeks, you know, or how athletes all only look from Monday to Sunday, you know, and it's like, well, you can do a lot of things from Wednesday to the next Tuesday, and it's going to look totally different, you know, but most people, we all look Monday to Sunday, or some people, you know, that are crazy and weird look Sunday to Saturday, whatever. But most people look on their training plan Monday to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
People also do the same thing when it comes to their race. They look at day one of training to they start to train to race day. But what if I told you, and that, let's say that was 6 months. What if I told you to jump forward 3 months and look at the last 3 months to your race and then the 3 months after? How did things go? How did you maintain momentum? How did you keep motivation? How did you reconcrete your commitment and to stay inspired and committed? So how did the last 3 months go? So if you look at that 6 month window, and let's say you went into it with a whole lot of hoopla, you know, because I mean, a lot of times the pre-hoopla is the like National Signing Day. You know, it's like the most annoying thing in the world. National Signing Day is for college football.
I love that.
I can't stand National Signing Day. I'm like, you got 16-year-old kids who are going to probably suck in 2 years, acting like they're Michael Jordan signing a new sneaker deal. It's asinine. But anyway, it's you're old school too, so don't tell me you're not. I mean, you're Wisconsin, so you don't get excited about signing day anyway. You guys,
I don't think we've ever had a recruit on TV
you
for a
guys
signing.
have like one. You guys still fax in your letters, or
They totally do. It's like the AD comes in the room of the classroom and goes, "Hey, you got that form? I got to mail that in."
Well, another one's coming in. Still getting on the AOL fax in. But it's it always, like, when you're looking back on it, it's like I had this huge 3 months, but then what did I do with the 3 months afterwards? If you didn't do anything and you fell hard and you lost all motivation and you quit training, then what was the sum of the whole?
That's a good way to look at it.
Did you even break even?
You know, I struggle. I've struggled with it for years. I mean, I've been slowly getting.
Yeah, but yours isn't post-Ironman depression. Yours is procrastination.
Mine is just all the time depression. It's got nothing to do with the race. No.
Then I retract my retraction and I say go for Alexa all in right after this episode.
Right. Over. So, Louisville was my 6th year in a row I've done one, and this year I did pretty good because I got done with it, and I was enjoying swimming at the time, and of course they shortened the swim, basically canceled the swim up there, and I just kept swimming, and that was sort of the key. What's that?
I said, yeah, in the perfect fall weather that is Ironman Louisville.
Yeah, the perfect. So, yeah, you get to that point where, I mean, we had a podcast called Happy and Healthy or something like that. And to me, that comes back to, it's like we were saying, I think it was in the last podcast, about how I was sort of bitching about these threshold runs and these FTPs and all this sort of thing, and how you kind of get, and you mentioned grinding, and grinding's not fun. How do you make it happy and healthy? I mean, this is a sport that it's like pro athletes probably have severe depression when they're done with their sport. You know, it's done. They're done. They can't have that parade anymore. Triathlon doesn't really have to end. I mean, for most people, you're seeing it more and more. People in their 70s and 80s are racing.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you make it happy and healthy and fun on a daily basis? Something that you want to keep doing after that race. And as we were talking about in that last podcast, it's sort of like, I mean, Ironman is going to hurt and it's going to be tough and everything like that, but if you're not ready for it and you're not trained up and you end up doing that race and it knocks you out for 2 months, that's a problem. You know, I've been feeling better and better after these Ironman races, you know, as I get older.
It's just like any other relationship. It's just like any other relationship. You got to go in careful. You can be interested, but if you really, really, really want it to work, you got to take your time. You got to work hard. You got to deal with the ups and downs, but know that you're in it for the long haul. Like, you want it for a lifetime. Because I think the thing that so many people neglect to think about when they say they love the sport is you can do this for a lifetime. There are people doing this when they're 80.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can do this sport that you love, that gives so much to you and your friends for the next 40 years if you want. Not many people can say that. But so many people don't go in with that like
golf.
Long. Yeah. But so many people don't go in that. They're like, they go on like 2 dates, and then like, all right, time to meet the parents, and then after meet the parents, about 2 months in, they're like, baby, we should get engaged. I've never loved somebody so much in my entire life. I think we should move in. Let's get a dog, and let's join checking accounts, and let's do this. And then 6 months later, they're like, holy shit, I'm so screwed.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and get a divorce, and you start all over again. And it's like they jump in without like it's that Ironman infatuation stage that I think people get so caught up in. They buy everything and they buy. I'm like, first off, just like get in, just wade in, you know, and then just realize. I think that's the biggest takeaway. I think, and probably a good place to wrap it up is like I think the takeaway we have is that you can do something like this for the rest of your life if you want, but not if you only approach it one length at a time, one race block at a time. You know, because most people are gonna burn out that way because it's so hard to start, stop. It's just so hard. It takes its toll, and eventually there's going to be a stop and there's not going to be a start again. and that's when I think people will really find out what it's really like to struggle, and not post race blues, but post sport blues.
I agree.
Not bad for a Disney cast.
No, not bad at all. I just think that when it comes down to it, I think most people get into triathlon. A lot of people played sports earlier in their lives or did things and were super active when they were younger, and then they get into triathlon later in life, and they sort of still remember or have this idea in their head about what they were. I know a lot of people come out of not necessarily in sports or whatever, but I think they tend to be more cautious, and they let the fitness come to them. We get so hurried to get to certain plateaus in this training that I think that ultimately becomes the beast that we have to escape. Because it's painful, it hurts, we're not enjoying it. There's all these variables. That's why, we talk about running slow ad nauseum, and frankly, if you don't come from a running background and you haven't ran in a long time or whatever, it takes a long time to get in shape to run a marathon or a half marathon well. And there's this quick fix mentality in society, the way that everyone wants to have things now. We forget that your body isn't ready for that type of thing. And those pains and injuries and fatigue, those things are also, I think, what leads to the blues kind of thing. And it's like, man, I just went through that race. I still feel like I'm not quite, trained up to quote unquote race Ironman sometimes, and I've been doing it for a long time, and there's a lot of history, and I've got that foundation kind of thing lurking in my bones, and I still feel like I've got a long ways to go, and I'm really approaching it from a slower perspective now, going into my 7th straight year of doing one. And I just think there's a lot of value in being patient. I mean, that's our word of the
the millennium.
It's like every podcast should just be basically just be patient, go out and have fun.
Just chill out, be patient.
But really,
boring patient podcast ever.
You know what I mean? I mean, I feel like I sense that in you and the way you train, and maybe in the last couple of years it's really sunk in to the point where you're not killing yourself, and I'm sure you used to kill yourself all the time.
Oh yeah, I kill myself every day. There's this, I think, listening to you talk, it kind of like light bulb moment for me. It was the reason I hate hacks so much is because they try to shorten the things that deserve the most length.
Yeah.
Working out for me is sometimes one of the best parts of my day. Why the hell would I want to shorten it? Why would I want to turn an hour into 10? The 10-minute HIIT workout that's going to transform your body. Dude, give me an hour on the trails running slow any day of the week. And so when you look at people who want to sign up for a longer triathlon and turn and do it in 4 to 5 months, I'm like, you can do it. You can do it. I'm not going to tell you can't.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have this conversation all the time. But you know what you're going to miss? You're going to miss the memories. And you're going to miss the journey. Because you shortcutted it. And yeah, you'll finish. And yeah, you'll be happy. And yeah, that carpet's going to mean a lot. And I get it. But it ain't going to mean, it's not going to hold a candle to the person who's been going for 1.5 years, 2 years. And you wonder why everybody likes watching the Olympics. The joy that you see these athletes take from looking so far and investing for something so far in the future for years and have it culminate, it's what people cry watching the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to shortcut their own, like, I can probably do it in 4 months. Yeah, you can do it, but you're totally missing the point. You're totally missing the memories of the whole journey there. Why would you want? And I get it if they haven't done it before, but if you've done it and you've trained, like, why would you want to go back and skip? Why would you want to skip that? Why would you want to skip that? But people do, because people want the shortcut, and you can get. There's a difference in taking a shortcut and getting a result, and there's doing something that's not a shortcut and getting getting continuous results. Because that's the biggest difference. In short-term hacks, they get you a definite, immediate, almost predictable result. But the long-term, the process-oriented, the people who are patient get long-term results, plural, that last, that don't have an expiration date that just stops. And that's something I would just, a cautionary tale that I would tell, share with people is just remember that when, it might make you feel good. I get it. I totally get it. The red carpet, it's something special. I get it. But you know what? Maybe there's like a direct effect from how long it took you to get there to how long it takes for it to go on the back end. If it's I definitely think there's a relationship there. Something definitely worth exploring yourself as a listener. And if you want it to be a long term, then it's probably going to take a little bit longer. But I guarantee you will not regret it. You will not regret it. Most people say, I don't know, I probably should have done this a whole lot sooner. Nope, you don't hear that. You hear, probably should have trained more. Probably should have waited. And then it's all different. So it's definitely an interesting relationship. But definitely, I think, good food for thought, especially this time of year as athletes are starting to gear up and get pumped for their end of the season already.
Yeah. Then I guess, like you said, at least over here in the States, a lot of the races towards the end of the year. So, yeah, I think people are probably starting to come out of their shell and feel their fitness a little bit more. And like I said, a lot is that this training becomes it's just a lot more enjoyable when you're in shape.
Mm-hmm.
You just
truth.
And I think that's a big part of that post-race thing too, is that you just kind of fall back into a place where you're not in shape, and then you got to kind of start from the ground again and go back at it. So that's why we harped on that hard. Keep something, just move.
Sure.
After your race, just keep moving.
Keep moving.
So, but now it's the time to kind of get the days are going to start getting longer, and everybody's going to start coming alive. So it's good.
I can feel it. I'm about to go get alive and hop on the teacups for a few spins.
There you go.
And enjoy the rest of my vacation. But then I'll be back, and we'll rock it again on Thursday.
All right, buddy. Have a great time, and safe driving back, or travels back, and we will see you soon.
All right, man. Talk to you later, buddy.
All right.
Bye.